The male friend test. I want a lot of male friends and male companions outside of you. Male friend test with justification that if you don't like this, you're insecure and you're controlling. You're dating a chick, or you're taking a girl out on a bunch of dates, or you're having like intimacy with her, but then she wants to justify and say things like, oh, if I talk to 20 other guys and all of a sudden maybe I slept with 2 to 3 of them and I keep them on the back burner, but they're just my quote unquote friends, it's okay if I have this, and if you don't like that, you're insecure. In that case, here's what you have to understand. Don't commit. If you're a guy, you don't belong committing to these girls. See, that's what a lot of you guys don't realize. A lot of you guys will get into relationships and commit to a monogamous, exclusive relationship thinking that, oh, it's going to make us closer. Oh, there's going to be more sex involved. That is not how this shit works. All you do, you kill the competition anxiety that you had before. You make yourself attainable. You lose the celebrity effect with your time, and you lower your status because you've now committed.
To be honest, I'd rather just be a little lonelier than deal with all the hassle of dating. I'm really not in a place emotionally and financially where I can deal with sorting through a bunch of misses to find a missus. Nowadays with dating apps, there's always something new and more exciting just around the corner. So many women I've dated have abruptly broken things off because they found something more exciting. Dating is like taking on a part-time job. I don't have the time or the energy. I'm sure all of you can relate to that. Social media, Hollywood, and porn have really altered the expectations of the general public across the board when looking for a mate. It's actually really messed up psychologically when a person thinks about it. Specifically, unrealistic expectations are held by people who conveniently hold themselves to extremely low standards but feel entitled to the best. More specifically, unrealistic expectations are held by people who act like victims when they're confronted with equally high expectations.
Time for some real talk. We all know that dating sucks. Dating when you're over 40 sucks. Online dating culture sucks. Talking phases suck. Dating when you're a single parent, male or female, sucks. When you have your kids 100% of the time, it's almost impossible. But when you add to the fact that you are a 42-year-old mom bod living in the state with the smallest population to that, it really sucks. Because if you live in the state with the lowest population, you also live in the state with the lowest dating pool.
Again, I'm not out here bashing women or nothing, but I think we have to speak about the reality, which is, as women get older, their value and appeal in society diminishes. And this is all the reminders for all the slay queens out here that your beauty is finite. You don't have to believe me. Go on Google and search 50 and invisible. And tell me what results you find. So all these single women professing that they're doing really good by themselves are most likely not over the age of 50. And by the time they do get to that age, they don't even get attention at the grocery line. And while that might be well and good for some of them who say, hey, you know, I have a dog, I have my material possessions and all of that, but I don't get attention from men. The sad reality is you're going to be walking into your golden years by yourself. So play your cards right.
Women our age are more likely to be in relationships than men, which makes you think, who is everybody dating at the end of the day? If the women aren't dating the men, then...
What crosses my mind is I think there's perhaps 2 explanations. One, women in that age group are dating older men, 30 to 40. But I think the bigger thing is that women are maybe think they're in a relationship or are in a relationship and they're sharing higher quality guys. So, and there's this concept called hypergamy. Women are all chasing after the top tier of men. So a lot of women are happier sharing a top tier guy than settling for a guy that's actually on their level.
What do you mean?
Don't leave. Women leave 70% of the time. If they're college educated, they leave 90% of the time.
Correct.
Women ruin relationships and they ruin families.
Women leave.
Women typically do it. Actually, and so if a guy ask the majority of men, their first choice is not a baby mother.
Mama.
Just like our first choice typically is not a short, broke guy.
That's right.
It's the same thing. It's the same thing. Now, will we put up with a guy that's shorter if he's good looking? Sure. Will a guy put up with a single mother if she has some other things that she brings to the table? Maybe she's attractive. Maybe she has other stuff. Maybe she's submissive. Whatever it is that he values. Yeah, but it's most men. It is not their first choice.
Okay.
Girls think that they want to date a high-value man until he starts calling you out for not taking responsibility, before he starts holding you accountable, before he has higher standards for you than you have for yourself. Everyone talks about, oh, date a high-value man. It's so, this is what you do to have to attract a high-value man. But I've never heard anyone talk about like actually dating a high-value man takes a totally different kind of woman. It's not for the weak. I have other friends who are dating like very loving, very successful, perfectionist, ambitious men, and it is not for the weak.
Why do you think it is today that a lot of American men are going overseas to find wives?
I cannot relate. It is the real thing, but it's just insecurity. Think overseas, go overseas, babe. I completely disagree because it takes a whole lot of courage, a whole lot of self-confidence, somewhat of financial stability, and a passport, which a lot of chicks don't even have, for a man to go overseas and find his wife. And actually really be the ones who are complaining about men leaving the U.S. to find their wives. It be the women themselves. Isn't it true that you hear so many women online talking about, leave, we don't want you here, leave, go find yourself a doormat, leave, you think you're better than everybody else now since you have a passport, where are you going? Basically, women are shaming men and insulting them for trying to do better for themselves. I hear women talking about they want to do better for themselves all the time. So what's wrong when a man wants to do that for himself? Unfortunately, some women in America are not submissive. They are way too masculine and they don't want to cater to a man. So girlfriend, you may look feminine, but if your attitude stinks, what is a man supposed to do besides moving on? And then you're going to be mad at him for it and call him insecure? No.
So I'm walking in the rain in central London, look, beautiful street. And I'm eating a cheese and pickle sandwich, if you know, you know. But the funny thing is, it's like I'm on my phone and nobody gives a shit because there's a raindrop on my head. Anyway, no one gives a shit because I'm over 50 and I'm invisible now to everybody. Nobody sees me. So I can do the bloody hell I want. And it's very freeing. I can get soaked and eat cheese and pickle sandwiches. Who's with me?
Nobody. Fuck this single shit. I'm ready to settle down and be with someone for the rest of this weekend.
Are there any girls out there that like genuinely want to be pursued anymore?
Do men pursue women anymore? Do men know what the definition of dating is? Do you think texting me at 1, 2, 3 o'clock in the morning saying what you doing, that's dating? Is telling me that you want to pull up all the time, oh, but you not hungry? Is that dating? I'm just so confused. Is hitting me up when you feel like it, when your other hoes dropped you? Is that dating? I'm just confused. Do men actually pursue women? Do men know what the definition of pursuing a woman is? Don't come over here and waste my time, baby. Know what you want and come step correct, or don't step to me at all. I'm just saying.
I just love it when women ask that question. When the men were doing the pursuing, they were called creeps. When they were trying to approach and putting effort in, they were told to leave women alone. Any chance these women had, they turned it into something negative. And now, modern women are seeing the effects of what they've been asking for. It is the biggest mirror that has been placed in their faces so far.
There is literally no place I'd rather be than dating in my 30s right now. I am approaching it from such a different lens than in my 20s. I pictured myself aggressively dating. Like, how could I possibly take a night off of the week? Like, I need to find a husband. Guys, I'm being serious. That is exactly how I pictured myself in this. And it is just simply not the reality.
Why is it that the finest guys in the world, and also single, never leave the house? Is there a reason for that?
It's actually quite simple. A lot of guys that are single have really come to enjoy the peace and tranquility that often comes with that. And the easiest way to maintain that is to stay at home.
It's not that you become invisible as you get older. It's that you stop attracting the wrong kind of attention. Your frequency is so finely tuned that you are no longer inviting in strangers, only friends you haven't yet met who vibrate on the very same level as you. You are not invisible, my friend. Invincible, yes. Never invisible. And you have earned to move around in safety and peace the way you do. So respect the space you have built for yourself. You have done well. Invincible, never invisible.
Back in the days, most of the time, you would wait for someone to make the first move. It might be on the first date, it might be the third date, whatever. It could be the man, it could be the woman. But now, all my friends have noticed that the man has stopped making the first move. All my girlfriends are like, they're waiting. It's the third date, fourth date, a week later. He hasn't gone in for the kiss. He doesn't do any touching or anything. And I've asked my dude friends that are single, and they are like, you don't know where a woman's gonna go with that story anymore. I ain't touching nobody. And it sucks because the Me Too movement is so strong and so powerful for the people that need it, but it shouldn't ruin the maturity that we should have within intimacy and relationships.
Most people are so worried about this, and this, that they forget what really matters is this, and this.
If a guy is ever ghosting you after a date, he probably just died. I always think about this story. My little sister's good friend went out with a guy for like a month, and then he just like out of the blue ghosted her. Like they had plans, texting, asking like, is everything, are we still on? He always just didn't respond. So after like a month, she kind of gets curious and goes like back to his Instagram page to see like what he's been up to. Turns out he really did die. So it's not you. They just died.
Before I go into work, I have a question. Is it just me? Or is dating in your 30s literally just the worst thing ever? Like, why is it so hard to date in your 30s? It's like Tinder, all these apps and stuff that you have to download, all these things that you have to be on. But then you get on them, and the men on there, it's insane. You literally tell them what you do as a profession. And of course, I say, I'm a nurse. And they say, oh, I think I want to be taken care of. Like, why? Why is dating in your 30s so hard? Somebody let me know in the comments. Like, tell me what else I can do, because I'm real confused. But it's rough out here on me.
To be honest, a woman dating in her 30s is a red flag. It shows that she has the inability to choose a good mate to settle down with. It also shows that these women aren't dating with intentions. It shows that they've been wasting their lives away in their 20s. Statistic also shows that nurses are more likely to cheat on their partners. To answer her question though, it's hard for women to date in their 30s because the men aren't looking for women who are in their 30s.
Read 3 hours ago. Fuck you then. I don't care if you ever message me again. Bitch. Love of my life. What's up?
Going out for dinner dates are dead, and here's why. Number one, women are calling it the Tinder diet, all right? They're literally going on dinner dates just to get free dinners and never talk to guys again. Don't be that guy.
Okay, I have a question. Who should pay on the first date? Is it the guys that are meant to pay or the girls that are meant to pay? And if you are continually going on dates, should the guy continually keep paying for all the dates, or should the girl, or do you take it in turns? I don't know. I'm having an argument with a friend at the minute, well, discussion, on who should pay for dates. Do you get turned off if a girl doesn't offer to pay? Do people get turned off at 50-50? I don't know who's meant to pay for what dates anymore.
Something happens as we get older that I call the invisibility factor. Now, it happens to men too, but I think women are probably more attuned to it. As time marches on and our faces and our bodies start to change, we become less and less noticeable. particularly to younger people. Now listen, the beauty of getting older is that you stop giving a shit what other people think. You know who you are. You've stepped into your power. You don't need external sources of validation to fuel your self-esteem. And yet, I'd be lying if I didn't tell you that I am aware that I am less visible, and there are times where I'm a little conflicted about it. I think it's one of those challenges of aging that we don't really talk about.
Why do people tend to sabotage when they actually have green flags in front of them with a person they're dating, experiencing, getting to know?
They have developed a core belief about themselves, either through their childhood or through adult relationships, where they believe that love should be a struggle, it should be difficult, and it shouldn't be smooth sailing. And when it is smooth, and somebody does show them love and compassion, because they don't have love and compassion for themselves, they start to question the judgment of the person who is showing them love. And they start to think there's something wrong in that person. And the smoothness that they acquire in the relationship is something that they're just not used to. And they have attributed love to being chaotic, difficult, turbulent. When it's not like that, they just think that they haven't got an attachment. They think in order for me to be loved, I should be obsessing over them, I should be wondering what they're doing, I should be checking their social media, I should be anxious. When the anxiety is stripped of love, they think it's deprived of its fundamental ingredient, when really it's being infused with peace, which they're just not.
I'm going to be super honest and direct with you. Is that cool?
Yeah.
I dropped my son off for school this morning, and my daughter and I went and had breakfast at a local McDonald's, and we played games, and we hassled each other, and she rolled her eyes almost out of the back of her head a few times, and we laughed really hard. And a few times when she was crawling up this thing in the playground, I got choked up because I love that girl more than life itself. And that's how dads are supposed to treat their daughters.
Mm-hmm.
And you didn't get that.
No, not really.
No, hold on. Don't brush it off and be all hard, dude. Because this guy's going to bail too. You've spent your entire life having to be the hardest person in the room because you had to be. And that kept you alive. And that's going to be what destroys all of your grown-up relationships until you decide to stop.
How do you deal with a man that is more sensitive than you?
It gets strange for me in conversations like these when we talk about one party being more sensitive or more soft. And a lot of times that kind of boxes men in, and it's alarming because if a man can't be sensitive and soft in his relationship, then where can he be? Like I don't know too many men that don't want to take their guard down with their old lady. Like I don't want to have to come home and protect myself from you. Like do you know what I gotta go through out in the world, and then to have to come home and guard and tiptoe with you because I can't be vulnerable? Like even when we use the word soft, bruh, a man being hard all the time will destroy him. Get you a man that gotta be hard all the time and see how he handle you. Brother, a man has to find softness in himself to properly handle those parts of you. Empathy is like a huge...
If a man has been through it and he hasn't actually dealt with it, and you want to push it out of him, you gonna see some shit.
But I might push it.
Baby, talk to me. What's wrong? Because he's quiet for 3 hours. He don't want to talk to you right now.
Because he was probably taught as a child.
That's not true. It just how they wired. They're not always talkative. They need their space. They don't always want you in their face. And if you are going to be in their face, why are you nagging about why he's been quiet? Rub that man's feet while he's quiet. Sit on his lap while he plays his game. A lot of girls complain about women.
What's going on with women these days? We used to be a lot happier than men, and now we're not. What happened?
What you've found is that over the past 20 years or so, women have converged downward to the unhappiness levels of men. And at first I thought, great, men are getting happier. Women are getting unhappier, is what we find. And they're getting unhappier very quickly. And so there's a lot of different theories of it. You find that there's a lot less family formation going on. There's a lot less marriage. You find that men and women are diverging politically really, really quickly. You find that women are getting much more politically progressive and men are getting more conservative. And so the result of it is that, especially in a culture where people think that the most important thing for making a romantic match is voting for the same party idiotically. Social media is especially targeted at young women. It's creating a whole lot of misery with social comparison, with political hatred, with the sense of loneliness that's crawling out of people's smartphones. And all these things together are creating an epidemic of unhappiness among women, especially young women in our society today.
And that wraps up today's episode of Manosphere Daily. If you enjoyed the content, give it a like.
Be sure to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified as soon as a new video is out. Share your thoughts in the comments below. See you all tomorrow.